So Dragon Quest Heroes, before actually playing it I was just calling it Dragon Warriors in reference to the Japanese name of the series, what is of course Dragon Warrior, and well, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, but Musou type games like Dynasty, Samurai and the Hyrule variants. I was then just going to point to my first review I did, what was for Samurai Warriors 4-2, and say, yeah, basically just that but with a Dragon Quest skin, but that is kind of wrong. It's kind of weird to explain, but that is what I'm here to do, so I'd better give it a shot. First off is the way you play it. With Musou games, normally you tend to jump around slaughtering hundreds and thousands of cannon fodder enemies with a single swing or a dirty loot, till you find an enemy general who can take a few more hits if not put up much of a fight, and by defeating him the cannon fodder enemies disperse for the most part and you move on to the next one. Dragon Quest Heroes has no general, it just has cannon fodder enemies and enemies who summon more enemies, with the end goal of defeating all the monsters while waves come from different areas. So while they are all simple enemies, they are a lot more varied than the usual Musou enemies. Some fly, some are huge, and some need to be dealt with in special ways, like hitting the machine enemies with lightning attacks to stop them, then you can actually do some damage, and honestly it really works quite well. They feel like actual enemies to fight and defeat, while in most Musou games the cannon fodder just get in the way a bit on your way to fighting generals. And of course, well, there are no generals in the field really. Some maps are boss battles, what face you against the larger, stronger monsters in a restricted battlefield, and when you get their health low enough, weaker enemies start flooding in. It actually also works quite well, adding a little more strategy to fights, like finding out where to hit the boss to deal the most damage, and allowing you to make use of block, which is rarely needed outside of the boss fights, but then again, you can just easily power through if needed. Control wise, it sticks to the basic square combos with a triangle finisher, or you can set it to simple mode and just mash triangle all day and night, and it apparently does it randomly. The key difference in gameplay between heroes and warriors is skills. By holding R1 every character gets access to 4 skills, which allows you to do large area magic attacks or quick combos based on the character. Many also offer non-offensive abilities, so you can add some planning to your party based on how you play and not just what characters you like the best. Speaking of characters, the game offers around 12 characters, having 4 original characters for heroes and the rest coming from Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6 and 8, what oddly enough are the only ones I've actually played. The ones available can all be seen in the game's opening video, and I may be using 1 or 2 in the video you're watching right now, because hey, I haven't recorded it yet, so I have no idea, but I won't mention what ones are available in case anyone really likes to be surprised. Another note on the characters was the accents. I don't know if it changes by region or anything, and the game even has Japanese audio I believe, so you don't really need to use them, but the accents really stood out to me. Maybe it was because it was so unexpected, because I've become accustomed to the same few American accents and everything, or maybe it was just because it has been a long time since I've played the Dragon Quest game and I could only remember one of the characters having such an accent, but I found it really weird at first and kind of silly, like it just didn't fit, but it quickly grew on me and I eventually begun to like it. And then it can quickly become annoying as all the voice stuff comes out through the controller and it drives you nuts. So if you pick this up, I highly recommend you turn that down if not off, because it really begins to grate. Anyway, the game itself plays out quite differently than other Musou games, where you run through short stories of different groups and play set maps of your choice again and again for a mix of leveling, weapon farming and fun. Heroes however has you focus on one main scripted story with side quests and such to keep you busy. You can play maps again, but all the maps have no goals, so you can just stay farming items and experience for as long as you can or want to. Really, with the slight gameplay changes, it doesn't really feel like a Musou game at all, which makes it really weird every time I refer to it as such. Story wise however, the game isn't really up to much. It feels like most basic default thing they could come up with, and they constantly bring up, we can do anything with the power of friendship. Probably, and that I really do not remember it being a thing in the main games, as it really doesn't fit the characters or really make sense most of the time, but makes it all the more annoying. I can only assume or at least hope that this was a mistake from a localizer, but then I can't think of any reason why one would think this was a good idea. I believe a good final thing of note is the monster allies. As some or many of you will know, in some of the Dragon Quest games, while done in different ways, you can recruit monsters to fight with you or for you, and this seemed to be quite popular, as it even managed to spawn the Joker series, what focuses around it. Anyway, Heroes has some monster token thing where once you defeat monsters they have a chance to drop a token instead of loot, which allows you to summon them. Some will launch an attack then vanish, others heal and boost stats, but most of them seem to be sentry types who stay and fight for you. This becomes quite important as many of the missions have you guard stuff from waves of monsters all coming from branching paths, so you need them to protect one side while you advance and attack the other. So yeah, Dragon Quest Heroes, quite enjoyable, good length, and not only would Muso and Dragon Quest fans enjoy it greatly, assuming one or two of you haven't already gotten it. I think people not in the two camps would really enjoy this and find it an easier time getting into than most Muso games. The game apparently isn't selling great compared to how good it is, and it'll probably get quick price drops, so I do recommend picking it up. And that's the review. This one took longer to get up than I'd planned. Playing two games at once made it take longer once again, and when it came to recording something came up, so sorry if one of you were actually waiting for this. Didn't really get comments on if I should do scores last time, so I guess not. Anyway, I've got nothing really more to say this time, so if you stuck around, thanks for watching.